Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and maybe one of the most misunderstood tools in Australian business, the trust. It's a structure that so many successful entrepreneurs swear by for some very, very strategic reasons, and we're about to find out exactly why.
So have you ever looked at a really successful business and wondered, what's their secret sauce? A lot of the time, the answer isn't just what they're doing, but how they're legally structured. And a trust? Well, it's a seriously powerful strategic tool that's not just for the super rich.
And really, it all boils down to three huge advantages: incredible tax flexibility, some serious asset protection, and way, way simpler estate planning. Let's dig into what each of those actually means for a business owner.
But hang on, before we get ahead of ourselves, what exactly is a trust? At its core, it's a legal setup. You have a trustee, which can be a person or even a company, and their whole job is to hold and manage assets. But here's the key. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for a group of people called beneficiaries.
I love this analogy because it makes it so simple to grasp. Picture this. You give a trusted friend some money and tell them, hey, manage this for my family, but you have to follow these specific rules. In that little story, your friend is the trustee, and your family, they're the beneficiaries. The whole agreement, that's the trust.
And those rules we just talked about, they aren't just a casual handshake. They are all laid out word for word in a super important legal document called the trust deed. This thing is basically the constitution for the entire setup, and getting it right from day one is absolutely crucial. Okay, so we know what a trust is. But now you need to know that they come in a couple of main flavors, especially when we're talking about Australian business.
So, first up, you've got the discretionary trust, which you'll often hear called a family trust. This one is crazy popular, and for good reason. The trustee gets to decide how profits are split up each and every year. That means you can stream more income to a family member who's in a lower tax bracket, potentially saving a ton of money. Then you have unit trust. This one's a bit more rigid. It works kind of like company shares. Your slice of the pie is fixed based on how many units you own. It's perfect for business partners who aren't related and want everything clearly defined.
So what's the catch? Because there's always a catch, right? Well, the upsides are massive. That tax flexibility we talked about and fantastic personal asset protection. But yeah, there are downsides. Trust costs more to set up and run. And this is a big one. If your business has a bad year and loses money, you can't distribute that loss to yourself to lower your personal tax bill. Nope, that loss stays locked inside the trust, just waiting to offset future profits. It's a really important point to remember.
Getting a trust set up is a pretty structured process. Step 1, you absolutely need a professional, a solicitor or an accountant, to draft that all-important trust deed. Then, the trust gets its own identity, with its own ABN and tax file number, just like a person or company. And finally, you appoint your trustee. And a pro tip here, using a company as the trustee can add yet another powerful layer of asset protection.
Look, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. Setting up a trust is not a do-it-yourself job. It is a complex legal structure with serious obligations. You have to work with a qualified professional to get this right. No shortcuts.
So there you have it. You now know the what and the why behind the trust structure that so many of Australia's top businesses use. You also know the critical things to watch out for. So the real question to ask yourself now is, could this powerful move be the right next step for your business?